Welcome, everybody. We are actually wrapping up a full 4 weeks today of the Omer. We are on the last emotional attribute of Malchut of Netzach. So we've had endurance the whole week, and now we're going to explore the attribute of what it means to have nobility and endurance and ways to live nobly. We are as great as the challenges we have the courage to undertake. So we've been discussing, all of the different attributes and the different things that we do in our life and the things that we feel and how we react and behave in our relationships. And all of this is meant to expand our vessel, our physical being, and our consciousness, and our tikkun, our soul's journey and mission in this lifetime, and hopefully evolve and expand our own being, the way we relate to others, and then also to help elevate the world as well. So today, our last attribute, Malchut, is mixing with Netzach, sovereignty or nobility in endurance. So think about, have you ever faced a hardship and felt like you wanted to just run and hide from the responsibility of it all, or it was just too much for you? You wanted to actually pull the covers over your head and just kind of slink away. Challenges will come and go. They are a fact of life. But how we embrace them, our attitude while enduring them, this defines who we are. It defines our character. However, to say that there isn't a challenge, so to speak, to overcome, sometimes, that's the case as well. Maybe we just have a project that we need to finish, because that takes endurance also. So the idea of Malchut is to have dignity in everything that we do, to be noble in our actions, in our thoughts, in our deeds. Whether overcoming and working through an obstacle, a challenge, or just trying to meet a goal, everything that we do should have a semblance of sovereignty in it. We are all touched by the divine. We are all created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. So at times, we really need to make our best effort to act like it. Our drive, our motivation to succeed, our will to overcome above anything at all costs, to endure any crisis, should come from a place of nobility. We should embrace all of life's challenges with nobility in our hearts and sovereignty in our actions. We should fight to achieve a state of supreme grace in everything that we endeavor, and have nobility to fuel us along the way. It is said, there is nobility in the struggle. You do not have to win. Whereas it's always nice to win, let's face it, sometimes it's the journey, not the destination. So we don't want to be so obsessed, to accomplish something that we become nasty in the journey of that accomplishment. Winning at all costs, no matter who or what you take down in the process, isn't going to be winning at all. Where is the nobility in that? Ernest Hemingway said, before you react, think. Before you spend, earn. Before you criticize, wait. Before you quit, try. Okay, we all need to try our best to endure and give whatever we take on our personal best, and fuel the process with dignity in our endurance. And then when we do this, we are going to create this state of sovereignty of Malchut. L.R. Cass said in an article on human dignity and bioethics that, this is very interesting, beyond the dignity of virtue and the dignity of endurance, there is also the simple but deep dignity of human activity: sewing a dress, throwing a pot, building a fire, cooking a meal, dressing a wound, singing a song, or offering a blessing made in gratitude. So when we say that blessing for the counting of the Omer, that we do together before we actually start this session, we are putting praise out into the universe. We are humbling, offering our goodwill, our intentions. We're directing our mind, and we're putting the blessing out into the universe. And when we do that, the whole world is transformed by the positivity of our energy and our blessing and our gratitude. And then it reflects back upon us individually and the whole world as well. So it's important when we think about this concept of dignity, of Malchut, of sovereignty, it isn't limited to large endeavors. Everything and anything that we wish to achieve should always reflect this quality, this attribute. When we have dignity, we can come from a place of personal pride in our actions and our endurance, which comes from a place of purity, not ego. Ego destroys us, and it unravels our best intentions. stealing away the opportunity our achievements present for advancement of our spirit and our soul. When we are noble in word, thought, and deed, mixed along with all the other attributes, we exude the majesty that's contained within our own being, and we then light a path for all to follow. We reflect the promise and the possibility that all humanity is capable of anything. We're capable of anything when we're driven to behave in ways that illuminate the nobility and the divinity that's inside each and every one of us. Malchut of Netzach. So to have nobility in our endurance, we need to live a noble life. We need to be noble. Now, this doesn't mean that we have to have royalty flowing through our bloodline in the typical way as somebody might think. It's more about connecting to the innate divine royalty and majesty that we each have within our own soul and living in a way that actually reflects that. Nancy Siebel created some steps on how to live a noble life, which I have adapted for our purposes. So we're going to take a look at them. So there's several different ways that we can manifest nobility in our daily existence. So the first is we must honor our shared humanity. So we all need to remember that we all have our own unique abilities and qualities. We all have worth as human beings. We all struggle, we all suffer, we all experience love, and we experience joy. We each can make a difference in this world. We can all live a noble life. So as we go through our journey, we need to know that, as we've said before, some may be above us, some may be below us, but we don't think about that. We're all brothers and sisters sharing the world. We're just at different places in the timeline of our lives or in the lessons of our soul. So we can all live this noble life. So living a noble life, there's the noble life that some live, like, you know, we've got the people in England or people around the globe that are born into royalty. However, the other type that we're talking about, the noble life that's available to each and every one of us, this happens when we hold the intention in our heart, in our soul, in our whole being of being the best humans that we can be, and then we act on that intention. So our mindset is that we're always going to try to do our best, be our best, even when we don't feel like it, and then we're going to act on that. And then we have to get clear on what our process is going to be, clear on who we are, which all these, as we explore all these different attributes, that's what we've been able to do with this whole process. We're identifying, acknowledging different aspects of our own emotional makeup, and now we're able to get clear on what our intention is. So if we say, okay, I want to have sovereignty and nobility in all my actions, we need to be clear on that. So we can engage in a conscious process of clarifying what we stand for and what we believe in. We can discover or rediscover our purpose, which is an ongoing thing throughout our lives. You know, our purpose when we're in our 20s may be different than when our 30s, 40s, 60s, 80s, and so on. This then helps us identify and claim our gifts, using those gifts that will then bring us deep and meaningful joy. It will help us meet the important needs of the people that we love and the people around us, but also it will expand our own sense of self-worth, our own sense of nobility. We can be a caring and supportive presence when needed and called upon. We can volunteer, we can teach, we can use, if we're a writer or a speaker, we can do that. When we give of ourselves, we are expressing nobility in the world. We are sharing our uniqueness, our special gift that we've been given while we're in this life plane, and then sharing it with others. Even when we take action on social justice issues, if we write an email or a letter to a newspaper or a politician, you know, we are acting, you know, hopefully with nobility in our hearts, because we want to try to elevate the consciousness or our world. But we also have to have humility too, which is what we're going to have all next week. We're going to talk about humility the entire week, because that's going to be our foundational attribute. Now, we could reach, when we go forth in our lives, we can maybe touch, you know, reach out and touch someone like we discussed before. It might be one person or 20 people or hundreds of people. All of it matters. You know, no matter how many or how few we impact, just the mere fact that we are trying to share our unique qualities and our gifts that make us who we are with another, that's why we're here. That's our purpose. Now, just that we are noble in action and intent isn't enough. We have to be able to actually go out and do it. We can have the intention, but we have to put it into practice. So we can all live a life that's guided by honorable principles and values that underlie our intentions. And we can do this by doing a variety of things. We can hold ourselves accountable for treating ourselves and all living beings with kindness and respect. So you can see that right now with the pandemic, there's so many dogs in the pounds, and people are fostering and they're taking care of them and loving them. And, you know, we're reaching out to one another. So we are taking accountability for ourselves and our neighbor. We can approach new situations and experiences with a friendly and open-minded curiosity. Well, look at all of us doing Zoom and trying to find new ways to live. But when we do all this, we are actually reaching out with nobility in our actions because we're trying to elevate ourselves to a higher state of awareness. We can listen to others openly and wholeheartedly. Well, being noble, think about it. You know, you have to listen to, if you are actual royalty, you spend a lot of time listening to other people. So we need to do that in our own lives to bring out the nobility that's within us and the sovereignty in the other individual. We can be a part of a community that gives and receives care and support. So whether it's a religious community or social organization, or, you know, maybe you work in a hospital setting, you know, when you give and receive support and you share one another and you help to uplift another person, you are being noble in your actions and your deeds. Take the time to slow down and listen to yourself. Okay, so we have that divinity that's inside of us, and when we quiet the noise, we've talked about so much mindfulness practice and meditation. When we take that time to just quiet the noise and go inside our own being and to just slow down, listen to our breath, tune out whatever is, you know, going on in the world, and then acknowledge it and give it the respect it's due, and then go forward. When we do that, when we take care of our spiritual well-being, when we take care of our bodies, and when we also take care of our minds, then we're going to be able to have a sovereign and more noble state, because we are, you know, really being mindful of taking care of our vessel on so many different levels. We can respect ourselves, and then we can respect others. We can appreciate and take care of this planet and all its interdependent life forms. We can stand up and we can speak out for our beliefs in a nice way, in a humble way, and we can advocate for our own and others' rights. So we got a lot of this going on right now with, you know, all of the dilemmas about when we should open up and go outside in the world. But if we have nobility in our actions, we're going to get to the right place, and we're not going to end up going backwards. We don't have to do all of these. We don't have to do all of them, or we could do some of them, but we don't have to do them all the time. We can mess up, and we can have good days, and we can have bad days. But what's important is we need to forgive ourselves, you know, no matter what happens, if we don't get to a state that we want to be. Even the counting of the Omer. Some people get really frustrated if they miss a day and they don't make it all the way to the 49. You just got to pick yourself up and keep on counting, resume that count, because that's what matters. It's our intention. And when we do this and we stay connected to our intention, our original purpose, then we have nobility in our actions and endurance, and the impact that we have will not only be noble, it'll be notable. And the effect is going to be exponential. It's going to just be like a domino, billowing out, but in a positive way. This is what Malchut of Netzach reflects. Everything that we take on individually or collectively will be enhanced and succeed beyond our wildest expectations with endurance that is manifested with nobility at its core. When we follow Malchut of Netzach, we can all be majestic in our actions and our interactions with others. When we endure, whether in overcoming obstacles, overcoming goals, the ones that we set for ourselves, with nobility driving us, and anything is possible. And then we can all actually be kings and queens, royalty in our own right, because we will be manifesting magnificent majesty within our lives, our relationships, and our world, because we have that majesty within us. So tune in tomorrow, because we're going to start that brand new week. It's going to be the week number 5, week of Hod, humility. So we'll see how the 7 different attributes are going to flow in and out of our humility as we refine and we elevate ourselves and our world. See you tomorrow.